I don't find the concept of the Messiah which is espoused by Judaism or by Christianity in the Acts of Yehovah. The Orthodox rabbinic concept of the Messiah and also the Kabbalistic concept of the Messiah and also the Christological concept of the Messiah are not there. What I do find in the act of Yehovah are all the elements necessary to construct the concept of the Messiah, or the Messiah being a concept of a catch-all solution to the problems of this world and the problems and ills of society and empires and the problems of the purpose of life for the individual and indeed all of humanity. The question that I ask is, what is the correct or the intended way to put all these elements together? And the answer is, the way that Yehovah designed the puzzle to be put together. Now what I find in the Acts of Yeshua is the answer to how to put the pieces together. What I find is the instructions given by an authority of how to construct the concept of the Messiah. Moreover, I find this instruction called the Good News of the Imperial Administration of Elohim. I also find that the puzzle was put together there and then at the time that the messenger brought the good news, and that the messenger himself was the cornerstone of the concept of the Messiah, the solution to all the ills of mankind that Yehovah has made. In addition, I find that the imperial administration itself drew close to humanity at that time to offer an opportunity to those in the Jewish nation and in the land of Judah to become citizens of this imperial administration, and to also give those who wanted to be citizens an important mission to take the good news in all the world, to announce it to the 10 tribes spread throughout the world, and to make students from them. All those who wanted to be citizens and to be owned by the Father and to be owned by the Son and to be owned by the decontaminating wind. Those that hear the good news and respond to its message, its terrifying message to the children of Israel and also to all humanity who are and want to be enemies of Yehovah. By doing tsuva and then dipping themselves in the mikveh to decontaminate themselves before coming into the presence of Yehovah and his son Yeshua, with the purpose of becoming students of Yeshua, learning how to please our Father Yehovah and how to prepare for the responsibilities and opportunities and careers in the administration of the imperial administration of Elohim. These are the ones who have a chance to make a real difference to all those in humanity who want a paradise established by Yehovah. They have a chance because the footsteps that they must follow, the footprints into which they must put their feet, are those of the one who was and is anointed, that is designated to be the one to bring the salvation of Israel from wherever they are scattered throughout the world, to bring the chosen nation back together to their agreed covenant responsibilities of being a kingdom of priests, and a shining example to all the other nations of the world. This one identified as Yeshua Yehovah and again identified by messengers in the atmosphere as Yeshua walked a difficult path of rejection and hostility and persecution and unjust treatment by the courts of the Sanhedrin and brutal torture by their consented by the hands of the Romans in disgrace and considered to be a criminal worthy of this extreme barbarity of being hung on a tree for all to see outside the city of Jerusalem. In his human body he showed the way that all citizens of the imperial administration of Elohim have to walk in exemplary conduct and in steadfastness and then holding to the accurate good news. And because it is such a dreadfully difficult path to walk, one which those students must walk in fear and trembling by fixing their life support reliance in Yehovah, he did not impose it upon them until he himself had proven victorious. This was demonstrated by his resurrection to a wind-like fall by the power of our Father. And this wind-like form able to present itself as human flesh nevertheless was incorruptible and completely transformed into a wind-like creature. And being in this form he comforted and instructed his messengers sent out to all the 12 tribes and gave to them the decontaminating wind to continue to work with them. Well, he went up to his father's throne and began to rule as co-regent over the peoples, nations, and emperors of this world. And by means of this decontaminating wind he continued to be in personal contact with his apostles, those sent out to the 12 nations, and to all who continued in their doctrine, their proclamation and teaching of the good news of the imperial administration as he had instructed them. And this is how the concept of the Messiah has been constructed by Yehovah and continues to function as the stumbling block to the Jews of Judaism and to the Christians of Christianity and to all the kings and emperors of the nations. It is by his servants and friends who are learning to be servants of Yehovah that he is destabilizing kings, nations, and impious emperors and preparing them for the wrath of Yehovah and the day of Yeshua, when he will come down on the kings and emperors of this world with a snorting rage and will defeat them by his willing army, the power of our Father Yehovah going before him and giving them into his hand and making them a winepress for his feet to tread on. To those of you who have received and understood the good news and have responded to it by doing tshuva and fixing your life support reliance in our Father Yehovah, hold fast, be steadfast, endure until our Father decides it's time to suddenly send our Lord to bring back his people from the wilderness and the exile into which they have been scattered, back to the Mount of Olives, back to Jerusalem. Hold fast and keep alert, because when he comes he will come suddenly and quickly, so don't fall asleep. It is your lot to suffer and to endure and to give up your breathing and digesting blood, being for this cause you know the price, but the reward is even greater. Fire, 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 fire.